Hello everyone, I'm Dass Gupta, founder and CEO of EdgeCortix, and it's my pleasure to welcome you in this fireside chat with our friends and experts from representing both the investors in Japan as well as globally, as well as semiconductor industry veteran. I'm joined by Ken Yasunaga, representing Global Hands-On VC, Shohei Yamada, representing SBI, and Akira Takata, representing our board director, as well as he's also a board member of SiTime. At EdgeCortix, we are a pioneering technology company building power-efficient solutions at the intersection of AI and semiconductors. And today we'll touch upon industry perspectives of AI and the rise of AI at the edge. If you don't mind introducing yourselves, maybe starting with Ken.
Sure. Hi, my name is Ken Yasunaga from Global Hands-On VC. This is a fund that is invest to the Japanese technology startup and help them going global. I've been investing in the venture capital business for more than 20 years, including 9 years in the US and 11 years in Japan, including working for the Japanese government fund. I also have some investment and operational experience in the semiconductor. As an investor, I invested like DSP, FPGA, and also reconfigurable computing that is on the device side. But also I invested to the testing equipment, EDA tool, and also the memory IP company. And I used to be a CFO of the Japanese semiconductor memory IP company.
Thank you. Yamada-san?
Hi, this is Shohei Yamada from SBI Investment. And SBI Investment is actually one of the biggest venture capital in Japanese market. And we're doing an investment quite sector agnostically. In other words, we can invest any kind of business area. But personally, as a Japanese tech geek, I like to invest in deep tech company like EdgeCortix, and then I got a chance to invest in this great company. Thank you very much.
Takata-san.
My name is Akira Takata. I worked for the semiconductor industry over 40 years. And even though I have a two-time chance to work in the almost a startup in Japan, and also in early times in 1980, early 80s, I have a chance to work for the company in Silicon Valley. I'm very excited now become a board member of the EdgeCortix as a Japanese-based high-tech startup company. So I believe the success and growth of these companies.
Thank you. So with that, why don't we just open up the discussion and talk a little bit about the AI industry, the edge as well. Let me start with you, Ken.
Sure.
So, I've spent the better part of the last 2 decades in the AI industry, but it's really now that we are seeing all this conversation become so colloquial in terms of AI. As an investor, what is your perspective of AI and AI at the edge, especially in terms of its impact on businesses and industries?
Yeah, I mean, AI is not a category anymore. I think AI is a tool that we use every day. Whether it is a corporate environment, manufacturing environment, or some other consumer environment. So everybody started to use AI. And when you're talking about the edge, I mean, obviously AI, current AI calculation is done in the data center using the big humongous like chipset, like NVIDIA H100 that consume a lot of power. But that has to go to the edge. For a couple of reasons. One is the security. I mean, you don't want to, especially in the manufacturing environment, you don't want your precious data to go and go to the public internet. You have to be very secure. And also, there's a lot of application that needs some instant responses. Like for example, autonomous driving. You don't have the time to go to the data center and come back to find out the pedestrian in the 3 meters. So you have to respond, do the inference in a real-time basis. The third one is network connections. I mean, connection is good, but there are many of the time if it is a wireless connection, you have to build a connection first, and that will take a lot of time. So that is also in the where the network connection is poor, you cannot deploy any AI calculation that is not acceptable for the many of the applications. So I strongly believe the edge, AI computing has to be come to the edge, especially on the inference side. Training side can be done in a large data center, but you consume a lot of power, and it costs a lot. And I think in the recent press release, there was some article that each of the query of the large language model will require like $2 or $3 per query basis. That is too much. I mean, if you look at the just a simple search engine search by the Google, that costs nothing. So if in the case of data center, as long as you are using the data center for the AI calculation, it started to make no sense as a cost-wise to do that. You have to bring a lot of, you have to have a lot of alternative solution to calculate, especially inference side, to calculate or execute on the AI calculations. So I think definitely AI edge is the big as an investors.
Great. That's a very holistic perspective, and I have to say, of course, as CEO of EdgeCortix, I have to agree to almost all that you described. But at the same time, like you mentioned, AI at the edge, as well as AI in general, there's a lot of aspects from power consumption to cost. But it also brings us to the question of semiconductors, right? And its role in terms of AI, with the growth of AI. So Yamada-san, to you the question, so how do you see that perspective, AI, growth of AI, alongside the semiconductor industry, especially as investors? We know that your SBI is making a number of investments in the semiconductor space. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you very much. As Ken-san explained, AI is everywhere right now. But at the same time, before that, actually semiconductor is everywhere. In cell phones, in cameras, in PCs, in cars. And then as a Japanese venture capital, we always think about how to foster this industry in Japanese market. And then there's a kind of a geographical background over there. For example, right now the top-notch semiconductor is produced in Taiwan. More than 80% is produced Taiwan. And then as a Japanese industry, always we have to think about how to diversify our industry within this country. And in this context, we used to have a kind of prestigious semiconductor industry in this country, but we would like to think about it one more time. And then, for example, we, as a country, we already succeeded to welcome TSMC in Kumamoto prefectures as foundry companies, but at the same time, we have to think about how to foster the fabless companies. And then we also kind of a rise of AI, but at the same time, how to sustain the AI development. And then fabless semiconductor companies is very, very important. So we just determined to invest in EdgeCortix.
Thank you. Now that also, of course, resonates very well, but it's also really a perfect segue for me to bring in Takada-san. As a semiconductor industry veteran yourself, many have called this time a renaissance for the semiconductor industry in Japan. Would you agree with that statement? And if you can elaborate a little bit about how do you see this industry, also in a global context, growing over the next 5 to 10 years, together with the rise in AI as well?
I agree. It's now the time the semiconductor is back. I think the most important things is the people, especially young people, who find more opportunity and interest in semiconductor industries. Before that, is the young people think about, it's a semiconductor is over, so the not good opportunity and interest. But now the people who again to back to the opportunity in semiconductor, and also it's not only for the Japanese people, but also the global talent is start to look in Japan's opportunities. This is very important. For the semiconductor industry, of course, one is a key point is timely and good enough investment, and continue to the effort for developing the new technology. But also is for that purpose anyway is the talent. It's most important. If in case is a lack of the good enough talent, even though that we have money from over the world, but it's not success. So for that angle is a renaissance in Japanese semiconductor is true and good.
Let me cut in the semiconductor area.
Sure,
Let me add.
absolutely.
I mean, I totally agree with Takata-san and Yamada-san. If I may add, for the long-term investor of the semiconductor, I mean, on one side, this is a very great opportunity for the semiconductor industry, especially on the AI edge computing. I mean, if you look back on, I'm sure that Takata-san knows more, but if you look at those hype days of the semiconductor, that's when the time, that demand is so quick and you have to apply and you have to create a new product. Let's say, for example, in the mid to late 90s, that's when the network demand is so big. So there's a lot of network-related ASICs and also a DSL-related chip, and also network will require some video transfer, and that is the time that codec chip is born, and there's a lot of hype on that. So since then, there's really a winter days of the semiconductor device. So after 20 years, it's been a long time. We've been waiting for such a long time to this kind of opportunity where the demand is so rapid and increasing. And also there's some variety of demand. You have to do some image recognition. You have to do the text recognition, large language model. There's a whole variety of the AI needs. So that is the time the semiconductor has to born, and there will be, NVIDIA we cannot let the NVIDIA to dominate the market for long. So the Intel has to come, AMD has to come, and also as TI and all the other guy wants to enter into this market. So market is so dynamic. So it is a great opportunity, and especially like Takada-san said, this is a good opportunity for the Japanese semiconductor industry. SBI is investing heavily on the manufacturing side, and TSMC there will be two fab, and the PSMC is creating the fab, Rapidas is as well, and Micron, and also the other. That one, Toshiba's Kioxia, is memory. So, now the manufacturing place is coming to this country. That means all the adjacent players, including like design house or IP guys, will come to Japan as well. So you will have a lot of semiconductor related engineer is coming from all over the world, and also coming from Japan too. So I think it's this wave of AI edge computing, and along with the Japanese booming semiconductor industry that is expected to come for the next 5 to 10 years, I think that's a great timing to invest in the Japanese semiconductor AI edge computing like EdgeCortix.
I would like to say one more thing about how to foster semiconductor industry in Japanese market, because we have already so committed to this industry. For example, as Ken-san kindly explained, but we have already set up a joint venture with PSMC, and then this joint venture is right now thinking about to set up a new plant in Miyagi Prefecture, and it costs a multi-billion US dollar. And then we have already have a great discussion with Japanese government, and of course Japanese government have a strong will to support this our activity. So as a SBA group, we are truly committed to this industry already.
Thank you. No, makes again a lot of sense for us, of course. But I wanted to touch upon a different aspect a little bit. And we talked a lot about Japan and the semiconductor industry. Let's touch upon applications a little bit. One of the applications in AI that has been really booming is generative AI. Everybody's talking about it. Of course, we are making the endeavor to bring it to the edge, more power efficient. Do you want to share your perspective of what kind of applications you think generative AI would play a critical role, especially at the edge? Not necessarily semiconductors, but in general from an application or business standpoint.
It's the word AI is very common nowadays, and but it's like 2-3 years ago, people not really feel AI as close, because it's that time AI is more like image recognition or like a face recognition or like doing the it's more for the autonomous driving or automation for the it's a factory line or logistics. So people think, oh, AI is a very important technology, but not close to me. But suddenly happen like a ChatGPT come up, people find, wow, AI is on my smartphone, it's on my PC, just asking something to generate the document or picture stories. Wow, AI is already in. So I believe generative AI is of course, is a very important thing for the society, for people, but I believe this should be edge. It's not on data centers because of the same as you say Google search, everything, or just real-time translation. If in case to all smartphone always asking to the data center, is to cost too much, and data center cannot handle such a huge amount of the inquiry. So not only just it's the standard is all-time AI, but also is a generative AI should be on hand edge. Otherwise, it cannot make it world change. So we should provide the technologies, not only just a chip, but also the platform.
Software.
Software, and for the good solution for the end providers. So I believe it's now it's just a good entry point for the edge generative AI to make realize.
I think that's a great point, right? So would you agree to that exactness in terms of the distinction between the data center and the edge, or perhaps a little bit more nuance? I guess the point that you were trying to make, Takada-san, is that there are certain applications that could be very well off in the data center, but when you want power constrained applications, that's where those type of applications maybe need to come to the edge. And that's something that we are seeing as a company all the time, that there are applications that are power constrained, could be in the smart city, could be in the robotics domain, that dictates that we build innovations around software and hardware that we can bring it to the edge. Anything to add to that, Ken?
I mean, power consumption is very important. For example, if you want to do the autonomous driving, and if you want to do some, image recognition for the autonomous driving, you have to put some server. And the current technology, the entire backseat will be a bunch of server carrying the NVIDIA GPU. So you have to create some very low-cost semiconductor that can put in the automobile situation. And also in the future, I think ChatGPT or some large language model can replace some typical search engine. You ask question, you don't search, you ask question, and now come the answer. So that will come to the smartphone. So in order to do that,
mixing modalities, speech as well as text and video.
Exactly, and that will you need further power consumption reductions on that kind of applications. And application can, generative AI application, it can be so many other things, like generative design or some hardware design or some, movies or pictures or, or the text or speech. And it can be, all the industrial use or consumer use. So it's going to be in everywhere. So people need some other alternatives.
Makes a lot of sense. So, I think we covered quite a lot of ground. So why don't we touch a little bit, maybe you have a point?
Yes, thank you very much. So, as everybody explained, like if we focus in this 5 or 10 years, AI can do every kind of things. It just has started from last year with ChatGPT, with a kind of corresponding text message or text conversations. But in this, when we are looking back to this 1 year, ChatGPT already announced this movie creating application called Sora. And then in 1 or 2 months ago, they publicly released the kind of verbal communications creating AI. And then they're accelerating the businesses right now. And then the next thing to come, I think, is robot. Right now, we are deeply looking into the humanoid robot companies. And then I think in 1 month ago, there's a huge public release that saying that ChatGPT or Microsoft invested in a company called Figure AI from Silicon Valley. And this is a humanoid robot companies. And then we just right now doing kind of research on this market. And what I found from that DD process is in 5 or 10 years, humanoid robot will moving by themselves and maybe speak themselves, because ChatGPT created the kind of brain of robot already. And then the company, famous company called Boston Dynamics, created legs of the robot. And then there is one more pretty interesting company is from Vancouver called Figure AI. Is right now producing a pretty precise movement of 5-finger robot. And then if we think about this kind of world, and then Elon Musk also saying that in the near future, the number of robots will be beyond the number of cars. And the cost will be like almost similar to the cars, like 200K or 300K. And then some guys saying that maybe the cost of a robot will be becoming like the cost of personal computers in the new world. Because the number of the component of the car compared to the cars, the number of the component of robot is so much less. So in this world, AI in the robot, and then of course edge side, we need a semiconductor in that robot. And then GE, the founder, the GE is saying like Internet of Things in 10 years or something like that, right? But the next thing to come will be Internet of AI or so. AI of a thing or something like that. AI is everywhere.
AI IoT?
AI IoT is everywhere. And AI have to be on the edge side, properly conducted by semiconductor, of course.
Makes a lot of sense. And I think that resonates very well. The demand of those kind of robotics applications, they are all constrained environments, many cases mobile, cannot be tethered to a power connection. So glad to hear you see that perspective. And of course, for us as a company that's building software and hardware in those constrained environments, the demand for such computing infrastructure will only grow. So with that, let me just perhaps ask each of you to talk a little bit about what excites you in terms of your role with EdgeCortix. Perhaps we can start from Takada-san and move this side. So Takada-san, you have been an advisor with us, and now in your role as a board member, if you can tell a little bit about what excites you about EdgeCortix in terms of what you have seen and experienced.
Okay, it's the most things I excited to the company is EdgeCortix is a total solution provider for the Edge AI solution. It's not just provide the software or not just provide the chips, semiconductors. It's most of the case, especially in Japan, is the software company, more software, or just doing the service or application. And the chip company very much good in develop a chip itself, but sometimes it's a weakened softwares, especially for the use case. It's from the chip company point of view, our customer is not the end user, end consumers. The customer is manufacturing the product for each application. So think about the customer's engineer. They are good in technology and have a good solution for their own application solving. It's the application product. But they are not good in AI technology, or they are not good in how to use the semiconductor. So we can provide to them the total solution for the good for their application. This is a very strong and interested and excited point for me. It's one of my experience is I developed in very early days for the programmable logic, but my chip made not a good success because of the software portion is weaker than the competitors. So I believe for users, for customers, is how easy to adopt our technology on their application, their product. It's the key. So the EdgeCortix have a capability and also the strong wish to do so. This is the point I excited.
Thank you. I think that resonates very well again for us. So Yamada-san, if you can talk a little bit about your perspective and role as an investor, what excites you?
My excitement on EdgeCortix is coming from my passion and my dream, actually. It's because previously I used to work for the company called Japan Bank International Corporation, so-called JBIC. And then in that days, my excitement is to help Japanese companies to go abroad. And then I just find out that to think about deepen the industry in Japan, maybe there is need to help Japanese startups go abroad. And then when the first time I hear about the business of EdgeCortix, and then after I found out that how global this company is, or how talented the Sakia-san is that if we can support this company to go abroad, that will be super kind of exciting for me. I was always dreaming that how can I help a Japanese company to go abroad. And of course, we always think about we'd like to support Japanese company who can compete and win in the global market. And in this context, EdgeCortix is pretty doing well right now. And then in edge AI semiconductor industries or market, they are pretty well positioned right now. And we would like to see more to come in especially US market.
Thank you for your kind words. Ken, if you can talk a little bit about your perspective.
Sure. As a venture investor, we always look for the company that is in the right place at the right timing. And I think especially if you look at the software side, I mean, everybody don't want to have, NVIDIA to dominate the market. So many semiconductor players want to get into this field. And also this software, I mean, the AI model is changing and there's new things coming. So what you can provide to those semiconductor guys, and the hardware side and the software side, that is a very precious place you can be, and you're at the right timing. And also, as a venture investor, we always look for a good team. And I think, EdgeCortix team, we have like engineer in Japan, India, and the US. And there's some in the Japanese saying, we call it wakon yosai, which is a Japanese spirit and a global talent. I think, being a Japanese in the nucleus of the management team is in Japan, you've been living in Japan for a long time. You have some Japanese spirit, and yet and all the talented engineer, talented other management people are from all over the world. So I think that's one great ingredient for the successful startup. So I think the team and the timing and your position in the market is very fascinating, and I will look forward to the great success of the EdgeCortix.
And then I would like to introduce one more good topic on EdgeCortix is that in the DD process, I met the head of TSMC in Japan. And then he is so happy to talk about your businesses and in EdgeCortix and then Sakia-san actually. And then he clearly saying that as a TSMC, always think about to support, help and foster Japanese fabless companies. But sometimes it's difficult to support them because some Japanese companies only focusing pre-notch area with high technologies, right? But as a venture capitalist, we have to think about a more broader market and then how to maximize your revenue in this market. But TSMC, head of the TMC, saying that with the kind of business sense and the business background of Sakia-san, Sakia-san always thinking about what will be the biggest market in this area at this moment, at this business scene. And then Sakia-san is really understand this market, and then AI cross edge is the next big business opportunity. And I fully agree on this, his opinion, and I really like the kind of the discussion with head of TSMC.
Thank you for sharing that perspective. It's good to hear that there have been kind words, and thank you for sharing those perspectives.
If I may add, I mean,
sure, please do.
We are doing too much for Sakia, but actually, in our due diligence, I asked one guy who is now currently head of the chiplet at the IEEE, and he read your paper, and he was very satisfied. So that is really one of our proven record to verify your technical advantage. So that I can add. I mean, a lot of due diligence stuff is pretty much confidential, but I like to take this opportunity to explain that it's not only us that was believing you. There's like your customers or some other players is believing your teams and yourself.
No, thank you for those kind words. And again, I'm just a natural extension of the team that's successful.
Yeah. And I like to add one more thing. I'm truly sorry for everyone I cannot speak comprehensively. And the one topic I would like to add is also based on the discussion with TSMC, because I have to understand how good your technology is right now, right? So I'm not the specialist on this semiconductor market, but I just asked the head of TSMC Japan that how do you evaluate the technology EdgeCortix right now? And then he clearly said, like, we already made a comparison with the other fabless company all over the world based in US due diligence team. And then the US due diligence on TSMC saying that the technology level of EdgeCortix already above the kind of average of top-notch fabless companies. So that is a big enhancement on me, and then I got strong confidence on that.
Thank you. Again, it's glad to hear that and learn about it. Okay, so to wrap up, in general, I think we had quite a lot of optimistic view about the AI industry, semiconductor industry. We talked about the renaissance in Japan in terms of semiconductors. Thank you for also sharing the perspective as to why you've invested in EdgeCortix, as well as the perspective as an advisor. And I think this was time well spent. So hopefully we've been able to cover quite a lot of ground in terms of this friendly fireside chat amongst experts from semiconductor industry veterans as well as investors, and me as the founder and CEO of EdgeCortix, bringing you our little perspective of the industry. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.